Today's top story from the perspective of someone who's there.
You are looking live.
This just in.
Not my beat.
David Aldridge has seen it all in his Hall of Fame career. Although, David, even you haven't seen that many 16-game losing streaks. This ties the record. Not good, David. That's my analysis. How are you?
I'm good, Craig. I'm good. And no, it's not good. Not a good week for the Wizards, monumental, the whole thing. It's just more losing. And the bad part is that there seems to be, and this happens when you're having a really bad season. You have times when where you're making progress, and they're making progress in some areas, but the regression in the other areas is just so great that they can't get past it. They can't get around it. And so, yeah, it's bad, man. If they don't win, they play Charlotte tomorrow. If they don't win that game, boy, I tell you, I'm not sure when the next win's going to come.
Yeah, I mean, it looked like it was coming for a while last night, and then it didn't. But we're going to get into all of it. I will tell the audience, David is doing some reporting today. Obviously, there's a lot going on, so if David has to hop off, we will gracefully allow him to go. But if all of a sudden David disappears, it's because he's doing his day job, and he's doing us a great favor by joining us here for Not My Beat. So, David, we did jokingly do a segment earlier in the week, basically being like, is this the greatest 15-game losing streak ever? Because all of a sudden there are like some positive things. Jordan Poole playing a lot better. Denny's having a nice stretch here. There are some positives. But when you talk about those regressions, what are those things that are preventing those progressions from actually leading to winning basketball games?
Well, Craig, it starts with defense. It's just horrendous defensively. There's nothing that you can point to that says they're even moderately better defensively. I mean, the fact that they're a little bit more efficient offensively means that teams aren't able to kind of run up and down the floor willy-nilly. They do have to take the ball out of the basket a little bit more now. So teams are scoring a little bit less, but that doesn't mean that when the opponent has the ball that they are unencumbered in any way from getting to the basket. They just can do whatever they want. They get whatever shot they want. There's no resistance at the rim, certainly since Gafford was traded. It's just, it starts with that. I think Coulibaly is, understandably after his rookie season maybe wearing down a little bit, and having a lot of, top-notch defensive assignments every night is maybe starting to wear down a little bit. And you kind of expected that to happen. Doesn't mean he doesn't have a great future ahead of him. But, yeah, I mean, it's just, taking Poole out of the starting lineup hasn't done anything to improve their defense. Their defense is still horrendous. They're just a little bit better offensively now with the ball in his hands a little bit more. But that's, to me, the number one thing. And, as they kind of assess where they're going, they have to have kind of some really serious conversations about what it is that they want to do defensively. Because I think, they're trying different stuff, but the results are the results. I mean, they got cooked last night. They didn't get cooked last night by the right Wagner. You know what I mean? Like they got cooked by Mo Wagner last night. You know what I mean? Like how does that happen? If you're going to get cooked by a Wagner, it should be Franz Wagner, right? I mean, they got cooked by Mo Wagner in the fourth quarter. Come on, that can't happen.
No, and it's not even like besides that, how's the play, Mrs. Lincoln? Because when it comes to defense, like there's no anything. Like they have no good on-ball defenders, and they have no one behind them to help out. And at that point, like I don't know what you do besides wait for the season to end and get new dudes in there and hope that Coulibaly, one of your very few who was capable at one time this season of playing defense, obviously can hold up for an entire season. To me, though, like I want to circle around to Denny, who's offensively and rebounding wise having a really great, month-ish here. But I do what do you make of him as a defender? Because if he's going to be, the third best player, let's say, on a really good team one day, it's going to be because he's a very solid offensive player and a really good defender. Are you starting to have concerns about his ability to do that long term?
I mean, I don't think he's like an awful defender. I don't think he's an especially good one. Like, I mean, the fact that they crow about it is kind of telling. Like, I'm not saying he's like a sieve defensively. He's not. He tries to put his body in front of people. He tries to use his strength to kind of slow people down. But yeah, I mean, he's not. I don't look at him as a switchable kind of long length defender. If you look at, by contrast, what Orlando has and the guys that they can kind of just switch on everybody, possession after possession, they're just different and better. And it doesn't mean that Denny's a bad player. He doesn't have a place in the league. He's a good player, I think. But, is he – and I don't think he's a terrible defender. I'm not saying that. I think he's been solid much of the year. But I don't think there's like another level that he can get to defensively, which is what you need. You need guys that can compete for all defensive league, recognition to be a good team. And you need a lot of them, right? You need 2 or 3 of them. And I think the Wizards have one in Koulibaly. I think he's the one guy that right now you could say down the road, you could see him being a potential all defensively, all NBA defense type of player. I don't think Denny's that level of defender, but I don't think he's a bad defender. You shouldn't not play him because of his defense. His defense is fine. He rebounds, to your point. Like defensively, he rebounds very well. And he's a very good ball handler. He's become a very good passer in this league. I think his best role would be as a secondary ball handler, with playing alongside a really good point guard who can handle the ball. And again, this is not a criticism, of Tyus Jones. Tyus Jones has played really well for them this year, but it isn't leading to winning. And it just isn't. Like, I'm not an anti-Tyus Jones guy, but the things that he does really well aren't helping them win games. And so you ask yourself, all right, then what are we doing? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it doesn't mean he's a bad player. It's just that it doesn't fit here. I don't see the long-term fit here other than he's a really good guy. He does get them organized offensively, but it's just not there's just not enough there that you go, okay, I'm going to put some more money into him going forward. To me, that doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah, well, I mean, certainly the results would be pointing in your direction. And just to close the loop on Denny, like, Denny, I think, is their second best defender, probably, certainly of their main rotation players behind Bilal, and that's why they're the worst defensive team in the league, because, as you said, there's a different level there that needs to be had if you're going to be competitive. I do want to go to Tyus next, though. Ava Wallace of the Post, our good friend, asked last night Brian Keefe, of course, the interim Wizards coach, like, you're not starting Tyus and Jordan together. Why are you still finishing with them, considering Jordan is running point in those situations and obviously has been playing much better as of late? What did you make of Keefe's answer that he's the guy that gets us organized? Is that a good enough answer at this point in this season and this losing streak?
I understand the answer because he does. Tyus Jones does a lot of really good things that should help you win basketball games. I'm not saying it is not his fault that they're not winning basketball games. Don't get me wrong. My point, which I wrote about last week when I wrote about Jordan Poole, was Jordan Poole's making $32 million a year. You have taken him out of the starting lineup so that you can get him the ball more. Right?
Yeah.
You can't trade him. Nobody's going to trade for him this summer. Nobody. So he's going to be here next year. So if all of those things are true, why on earth is he not starting at point guard? I don't understand. We all agree he's best with the ball in his hands. The numbers seem to indicate when he's had this opportunity, he's been pretty good offensively. I mean, he is not good defensively. He's not ever going to be good defensively, I don't think, unless he really has kind of a reset mentally about what's important to him. But offensively, he's been pretty good, right, of late. And there's nothing wrong with that. I can live with a guy giving up a lot of points if he scores a lot of points. I can live with a push, right? I need to get a win at other positions, but I can live with a push at one, maybe two positions. Okay. Then he should be starting. Like, I don't understand. Like clearly he's better offensively. He's more dynamic offensively in terms of what he can do scoring the ball. He turns it over more, but he scores more. So, I mean, I don't understand this. Like, to me, I don't understand going forward. Like, if you're trying to build something, I think you have to kind of live with the pluses and the minuses of Jordan Poole because he's not going anywhere. You can't get rid of him even if you wanted to, and I'm not saying they want to. But I'm saying if he's going to be here, then give him the ball.
Right.
You know?
And the thing is, like, David, I don't even mind him coming off the bench so that you stagger he and Kuz a little bit minutes-wise. Kuz gets the ball first,
right.
and then
yeah.
but like
you can do that.
at the end of the game, if you're kind of picking what you want to do to maximize the chances of winning, you have made the decision in part because Tyus and Jordan together is so untenable defensively that
Correct.
on the worst defensive team in the league, it's the worst thing that you have. And that's how we're closing games now. And it's like, yeah, no wonder they've lost 16 straight. And I guess my question would also be like, how much do they care that they've lost 16 straight?
Well, I think they care in the sense that they didn't expect it to be this bad. I mean, I
hope
think
not.
they thought they would be garden variety bad. You know, like 25 to 30 win bad this year. You know, and have not saying that they wouldn't try to move up if they had the 8th pick again, right? Like they always have, it seems. The 8th or the 9th pick forever is the Wizards' MO, right? Maybe they would try to move up. But I think they thought, all right, we're going to be bad this year. We're going to be worse next year. I really do believe that they thought, okay, we're going to get through this year. We're going to start trading. We're going to really start to rebuild and start moving some of these vets for younger guys and play the young guys in 24, 25 and really take it on the snout because there's a couple of, well, there's at least one great piece in Cooper Flagg that might be available in 25 and potentially two because the other kid just signed with Duke as well who's really coming on, the young man who is coming out of the NBA Africa Academy and is really coming on. So I think they thought they would be bad. So yeah, losing 16 straight is not good. I don't care what the plan is, right? Like it can be a long-term plan or whatever, but you can't. 16 straight's bad. Like that's not. You can't just laugh that one off. I mean, guys have pride. They don't want to get boat raced every night. And it's even more frustrating because lately, I mean, they've been in these games, right? Because they have been more efficient offensively. So they've had chances. They were up 20 last night against Orlando. Now you knew Orlando was going to come back, but it was a winnable game and they didn't win it. Utah, winnable game. They didn't win it. Lakers, winnable game. They didn't win it. So there's been like 5 or 6 of these during the streak that they could have won that they didn't win. They didn't finish. So it's rough right now. I mean, it's not fun for them. And I understand that because, it's the NBA, yes, but you still have guys, and they're not a good team, but there's still a lot of pride. Guys want to win. They don't want to be embarrassed nationally and be kind of a joke nationally, which is where they are right now.
Yeah, absolutely. David Aldridge, of course, the Hall of Famer, senior columnist of The Athletic with us here on The Hoffman Show. One more on the basketball team, and then we can talk about the organization that runs them in this mess with Virginia.
Sure.
Have you lost, because ultimately this is what we're talking about here. The biggest of pictures is, have you lost any faith, or do you think that a losing streak like this does any lasting damage to the overall project here? Have you lost any faith in Winger and Dawkins, / do you think that these losses stacking up has done any kind of permanent damage to any of the people that could be here for the long term?
No, I haven't. I mean, they have to prove it. They haven't proven it yet, right? I mean, they haven't done anything to prove that this is right. I'm not saying that you blindly follow Winger and Dawkins and don't question what they're doing, but nothing that's happened this year, including the losing streak, makes me go that, oh boy, they should have kept Beal. No, this is what everybody in this town said they wanted, right? Everybody said, we're tired of mediocrity. We're tired of the hamster wheel. Take it down to the studs. Start over. Okay, you got it. This is it. This is starting over. And it's bad, and it's ugly, and it's painful, and there's no guarantee it's going to work. But you have the best opportunity. You have the best chance of it working, doing it this way, in my opinion, than trying to build a championship team around good but not great players. I don't know anybody who's ever done that. There's no frame of reference for me, and I've only covered the league since 1987. There's no frame of reference to me in that era of a team building a championship level team around pretty good players. Just doesn't, it's not there. Show me. Show me the map.
The closest would be like the '04 Pistons, which have how many Hall of Famers potentially on that team?
They got a couple of guys that are going to the Hall of Fame.
Right.
Starting with the coach,
right.
First and foremost. So, and that was even, look, I mean, that was a terrific team.
Yeah.
That was a team that was all in on defense,
right.
all the way in on defense.
They were like 7 deep of like really excellent players, and as opposed to the typical, yes, we have one pantheon player and also 2 other excellent ones and then 4 other pretty darn good ones.
I mean, you could make the case that none of them individually is a Hall of Fame player, but that group had a lot of guys that were really close to being Hall of Fame players.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, okay, you might say Billups in the Hall of Fame, but he's close. You might say Rip Hamilton's not a Hall of Famer. He's close.
Right.
So you had a higher level of pretty good players, and you had a lot of them. To your point, like you didn't have like 2.
Right. You got Olympic gold medalists. You got all-stars. When Rasheed Wallace wanted to be, he was like the 5th best
really
player
good.
in the league.
He's a really good player.
Only wanted to do.
Ben Wallace is a Hall of Famer, by the way. So.
Right. Yeah, absolutely. David Aldridge with us here on the Hoffman Show. So as the Wizards are busy blowing a 20-point lead last night. There's no delicate way to put that. That's what happened in the game, or watching it slip away. Their hopes of a stadium in Virginia also seem to be slipping away. What do you make of this news that the Glenn Dome and the Ted Dome out there in Potomac Yards now seems to be on some level of life support?
Well, it certainly doesn't look like it's going to happen anytime soon in terms of this year, right? So, I mean, at some point, I don't know Virginia politics. I don't know state, how things happen in the state in terms of what the governor can and can't do. Apparently, he can basically make this a single issue that he can ask for an up or down vote, which seems more precarious than doing it the way he wanted to do it. But let's just say, for the sake of argument, that it doesn't happen this year. Obviously, they can try again next year. They can spend a year lobbying people, but I think Youngkin. I know he's term limited. He's got 2 years left. After this year, I'm not sure he's going to have a whole lot of juice left because they're going to be thinking about the next governor, whoever that is, and what they want or don't want. So, I'm not saying it's dead. There's a lot of people involved that want this to happen. There's a lot of money involved, and that tends to make things happen in this society. But it's certainly not happening soon. So it gives Virginia a chance to kind of reset and maybe work on some of the people that didn't want it, and wouldn't vote for it. But it also gives the district, I think, another chance, potentially at least, to kind of get back in the game. So the question is, how do they do that? To me, it seems silly if he said, I want $600 million and you're offering him $500 million, why don't you just offer him $600 million? Like, you know what I mean? It's not my money. I mean, it is my money because I'm a tax-paying. I live in the district, so it is my money. So, but if you're going to do that, you might as well make the deal. You might as well say, hey, okay, we're going to give you the $600 million. Say no. And then if he says no, he didn't want to make a deal, right?
Yeah.
So that's what he wanted. He said, give me $600 million and I'll stay. Here you go. You got it.
Yeah, no,
and
that's definitely an interesting way to go about it.
I mean, if you're offering him 500, like if you're offering him 100, I could understand. But
right.
They offered him 500. There's a bill that the entire city council has passed to say, we will give you $500 million to stay. If you're going to give him 5, you might as well give him 6. Like, to me, I don't understand what the difference is at that point. I mean, if it guarantees him staying, why wouldn't you? I don't understand. If you've gone that far, you might as well go all the way to make sure. I don't think you should. This isn't a negotiation in that sense. You know what I mean? Like at this level, and especially since he's already left. Like he's already said, I'm leaving. If you have an opportunity, however remote, to get him back, why wouldn't you do everything you could to get him back? And if he says no to the $600 million, you have a clear conscience. Well, we offered everything we could. We offered him what he said he wanted, and he decided not to take it. I can't make a guy stay.
Yeah, no, I hear you on that. I definitely think that would be like, I don't know what Ted does at that point. I think at this point he could probably just be like, well, we already made the decision. It's not about the money, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like, well, then why were you asking for public money from the district in the first place if there was no chance?
You were willing to, less than 6 months ago, you were willing to stay for $600 million.
Right.
So, okay. Well, the deal in Virginia is not available to you right now. Now, you can wait, I guess, but you're running the risk of someone coming into office that may not want to spend that, may not want to make that deal with you for whatever reason. It's politics. People make deals and don't make deals for whatever reasons they have. You run the risk of having a legislature that may be less inclined to do the deal going forward. So I'm not saying it's dead. I'm not saying that. I'm saying if I want to make a deal, there's an option that's on the table, I think, that will soon be on the table again, that I think you have to at least look at.
Yeah, no, I think
we'll see.
Yeah, no, we will see. That is definitely the mode that we are in right now. David Aldridge writing about it all, the basketball and more at The Athletic. Of course, their senior columnist writing about DC sports and the NBA. David, always appreciate your time, sir. Thank you, and we will talk to you soon.
Absolutely, Craig. My pleasure. Thank you.
That is David Aldridge, the Hall of Famer, with us here on The Hoffman Show.
What's up, kiddos? It's your boy Clinton Yates from ESPN. It's The Hoffman Show on the Team 980. Tell your mama I said what's up.